I might want to do delts 4 times a week. It might not be the most optimal for the stage, but for me it is. I just think do what is going to keep you motivated, like you said.
Something that's also important in trying to put together your own formula, your own workouts, is something that I've called for a long time. I call it the intent of the day. This is why it might be an advantage to potentially not have a coach, because I think there's a lot of questions that you want to ask yourself before you engage in a training protocol. All right, Kenny Williams, what do you think of kind of all this programming going on around? Seems like sometimes when you look at social media, it can be kind of difficult to sift through and maybe figure out how to do a program.
Yep.
But even though you're a lot younger than me, I think both of us sort of just figured stuff out, maybe in the reverse order, like went to the gym, messed around with some friends, hopped on machines, learned how to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like maybe not everyone needs such a specific program.
Yeah, no, I think people overcomplicate it. We've talked about it in one of the previous podcasts, but yeah, I just think people overcomplicate stuff. I think they also overthink the period of time where you should be okay with trying things and failing and, you know, maybe not doing things in the most optimal way. And yeah, I just think most of the time you're overcomplicating it. I know I do. And every time I make a new adjustment to my program or change my split, I just go back to the same thing every time, which is what we can get into as we open up about this.
I think what we want to encourage you to do is to just try your own programming. Just because you're doing your own programming doesn't mean that you're unorganized. It doesn't mean that you don't know what you're going to do. It doesn't mean that you're going to select what you're going to do very last second in the middle of a workout. Odds are you haven't been training long enough to make those audibles and to make those calls during a workout, so you may be better off writing down a couple of things. Like tomorrow I want to do shoulders. And then let's say you have no understanding of like what to do for shoulders. Do some YouTube stuff, like research it a bit. So what are some of the best exercises?
Right.
You see that there's like an overhead press, you see that there's a lateral raise. Maybe they even give you a prescription in there of how many sets and reps. But now you can go to the gym and you can determine how much you think that you need. And normally 2 to 3 exercises per body part. And in some cases, as you grow more mature, 2 or 3 hard exercises might be all you do for a workout. But in the beginning, 2 to 3 exercises per body part is a really good place to start. But also, even within that, just feel that out for yourself. Like there's nothing wrong with going to the gym and doing 5, 6, 7 exercises, even just for biceps. Somebody might say that doesn't make any sense. It's not following the science. That's not the most optimal thing.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to start because you're learning. And maybe that's what you like doing. And maybe you end up doing that for 3 months, but it keeps you doing what? It keeps you coming back to the gym.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Also just because most people maybe might not have that obsession with the gym like me and Mark have, or anybody here really. So yeah, picking stuff that's going to keep you motivated to go to the gym each week is more important than whatever is optimal for whatever goal you have, in my opinion. Because if you're not motivated and you're not having fun, then you might as well just fuck it off, because you're not going to like it and then you're going to quit.
A schedule can really help keep you focused. So like for some people that don't feel like they have direction, they don't feel like they have motivation, that's where it might make some sense to buy a program. And hopefully, but I would say more often than not, it doesn't happen. But hopefully you buy the program and hopefully you follow it.
Yeah.
But I think you and I don't really have that personality. I know I don't want to speak for you, but I don't have that personality to like buy a program and then follow it to a T.
Yeah, no, I always change something. But really the only thing that I've got out of buying programs, like I remember in high school, I bought Larry Wheels' program, and I look up different athletes or coaches, like their PDFs that get leaked to one of their clients. I look it up and screenshot that and try it. Like DC training from Dante Trudell. I got into that hard, which is lower volume, high intensity. But yeah, really the only thing I got was just I take bits and pieces from the things that I've bought and listened to, and I put my own twist on it, because again, creating my own structure based off of what I like and enjoy is the fun part for me. If I got told you can't ever have a say in kind of what you're doing, or I have to have a coach to be the absolute best bodybuilder in the world as far as training, I probably wouldn't do it, just because I know I'm going to burn out, and I enjoy sitting down and structuring and picking out, what can I do, what can I change based off of what I want to bring up. Because I don't know, I mean, for bodybuilding it's different, because it might be like, oh, your arms need to come up, so if I want to succeed and be good and have symmetry, I need to bring up certain body parts. But I might just want a giant delts. I might want to do delts 4 times a week. It might not be the most optimal for the stage, but for me it is. So I don't know. I just think do what is going to keep you motivated, like you said.
I think getting into the gym, learning the exercises, learn the movements. We've had a lot of different people on the podcast over the years, and most of the time what people will say is, look, man, just get started. Whether it's business or some other endeavor in life, or it's having a good physique, you need to start somewhere and just get started. So what does that mean for the gym? Well, it means just get yourself to the gym. And then from there, get yourself out of the corner of the gym and see if you can start to move around some dumbbells, get on some of the machines, learn some of the machines, ask some of the people there some questions, ask them what they're doing, ask them if you can work in, ask them, hey, what was that you just did? That looked really interesting. I'd love to have arms like yours or shoulders like yours. What you'll learn over the years is that might be intimidating to try to do that, but what you'll learn from the person with the Ferrari is they want to tell you all about it.
Yep.
So when they step out of that car and you say, hey man, that's really sick, you mind if I ask you how you got that? You're going to get a podcast right there. They're going to unleash like 2 hours of free information on you, probably. In some cases, maybe somebody's going to be a jerk, but most often you're probably the guy with the big arms, the big shoulders, the girl that has the physique that you want, or whoever it is. You ask them a question, they're going to be, oh my God, let me show you this. I want to show you this. I want to show you this.
Yep.
And you'll probably learn a lot more from that than you can even just online.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I don't know how specific we want to go, but like the types of training. I know we've talked about it, like what's optimal, but I think figuring out the style of training you want to do also, and experimenting with all of them at first, is, like we said before, for me it's the best part. But I think understanding what each of those are is also important. So even if you're powerlifting, bodybuilding, CrossFit, I don't know, I'm sure there's different setups and structures and programs for each one of those categories. But for me, I really just messed around with bodybuilding for the most part. So like low volume, high intensity. I didn't know what that meant for like 2 years. I was like, what does volume even mean? What is volume? What does that mean when you're lifting weights? I don't know, because everybody's like low volume, high intensity is the best way. The HIIT style training like Dorian, and then high volume, and then like, I don't know, like a basic split, a bro split. All this shit is just like confusing as hell. I didn't know I didn't have any type of actual understanding of what that meant until like 2 years went by of me just kind of trying it, listening to podcasts for like literally a year. It did not stick. Even researching it did not like really click for me until I gave it a shot for like 2 years, and I was doing it wrong the whole entire time. But now, after trying a bunch of stuff, I was telling Mark, I came back to the same thing I started with, which is for me personally, low volume, high intensity, I do like 3 to 4 exercises and I leave the gym.
Intensity refers to the weight on the bar in relation to your 1 rep max.
That's what, yeah.
I think that's a really vague explanation, especially when it comes to you trying to do anything other than lift heavy. Because within the confines of that, there's still so many things you can do. There's things like drop sets. There's things like dog crap training, which is like 5 sets in a row where you breathe 5 times in between each set. You give yourself like a little mini break in between those sets.
Yep.
But you're still training pretty heavy. So intensity is a weird one because by definition it has to do with how close are you getting to your 1 rep max. So how intense people train, they usually most of the time you're going to find that people are training in like a 70% range, which sounds like they're giving up a lot. It sounds like they're not working hard, but that's not what it means. Just because you're not working with 100% doesn't mean that you still don't get yourself to a point where you're exhausted with those weights. I think the main idea, the main principle, if you just look at bodybuilding in general, is that you have the intensity, which is the weight on the bar, you have the amount of reps that you're doing, you have the amount of sets that you're doing, and then you also have the rest period. In a standard bodybuilding style workout, you want to perform 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions with about 60 seconds rest. Now, to me, what that means is that doesn't mean you're going to have a light, medium, heavy approach to your dumbbell bench pressing for the day. Light meaning you would start with 25, then you would go to 35, and your last set you might use the 50s. To me, that's not that you can't do that in bodybuilding, but to me, most of the time in bodybuilding, it makes more sense to do the reps in a similar fashion for all the reps, and all the sets should look a little bit the same. I'm not saying all the time. Once you mature and once you get past doing this stuff for a little while, you can, once you know the rules, you can then start to break them. But in general, you would want to do 4 sets of 10 repetitions with picture perfect form, all the way to the point where the last rep of the last set looks like the first rep of the first set, even though you only rested for a minute in between. And the weight that you would choose, let's say that you can move the 70-pound dumbbells around for a couple of reps, like 2, 3, 4 reps, something like that. Well, the weight that you would use for this example of 3 to 4 sets, you would probably use maybe about 45, 50 pounds, somewhere in that range. And you're going to be you'll be shocked. You'll be absolutely smoked from that. Now, the key, though, to bodybuilding, if you're really trying to bodybuild, if you're really after hypertrophy, is the transition from that exercise. So you got done with that exercise, and here's where people make a big mistake, is they take 6 or 8 minutes to get to the next one.
Yeah.
And you still want a pretty quick rest period. That's why it's helpful to have something written down previously before you get to the gym, because you did your dumbbell bench for the day, and now the next exercise that you're going to, you're like, oh, I'm not sure which one, and there's someone on the machine, and then it's been 8 minutes, and you lost that initial pump, which you just spent about 15 to 20 minutes working on. So in my opinion, that kind of defines bodybuilding. Bodybuilding, to me, means that you're staying within like a short rest period in between your sets, as I'm droning on and talking on and on between my sets here of doing some curls. But I think that is a key factor, and it's not really talked about that much. People talk a ton about the intensity, they talk a ton about the volume, but I think a lot of people are missing that rest interval in between. It's a big part of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know what intensity even meant in comparison to a 1 rep max, because I would see that, my brain would be like, well, I might not even know what my 1 rep max is on this exercise. And in my head, I saw it as like, well, I'm not doing a 1 rep max, so I don't even, that just confuses me to begin with.
Yeah, it doesn't seem relevant.
Yeah, I'm like, that just
like,
confuses me. A 1 rep,
But really all it means is that your intensity on a particular exercise is choosing a weight
Yeah.
It's going to allow you to handle it for 8 to 12 repetitions that are performed with good form.
Right. And then you see, like, this is what confused me the most. I was telling Wyatt the other day, was a coach or a program will say, or science, whatever the fuck, it'll say, go to failure within 8 to 12 reps. And I'm like, that confuses the shit out of me, because I don't know what weight I'm going to choose to where I actually fail within that rep range. Like, what if I do 15 reps? Is that bad? And then I like slowly started to realize, just based off of trying things, I'm like, all right, if you overshoot or undershoot, and let's say I did like 100, I was aiming for 8 to 12 and failing within that, and I get like 20 reps, I'll just increase the weight next week and try to land in that range. But yeah, that confused me a lot, what intensity meant in bodybuilding, and also what is it, training to failure, actually training to failure, where you're pushing your body to the limit. That took me, I still sometimes don't know, but more so this year I learned what that kind of meant.
I would say it's fair to say that even for yourself, even when you go really nuts on an exercise, you're going more to like mechanical failure, right?
Yeah, unless I have like, I mean, yeah, definitely.
Mechanical failure, just to clear that up, it just means like as I'm doing these curls right here, once I feel the need, so okay, maybe there's like a little natural swing that happens when you're doing your lift, but once you have to start to really use your whole body, that would be like a mechanical failure. Or you can no longer hold the tempo that you had before. Your form is breaking down. If you're bench pressing, your elbows are flaring out. If you're squatting, your knees are caving in. If you're deadlifting, your back is rounding. Those are all examples of a technical limit. What's interesting about a technical limit is that you utilize that principle in track and field. So you utilize that principle in like a lot of sports. Wrestling comes to mind, jiu-jitsu. You use that principle in the weight room a lot, but I think that people never even really heard of it. They don't even know what that means a lot of times. And I think it's one of the most important factors, because if I say failure, if I say do this 8 to 10 reps to failure, it is very confusing. Or if I say do this at this intensity, that's also confusing. If I say, hey, do this with this amount of volume, that's confusing. Most people, like I said earlier, they don't know much about the rest intervals, so that could confuse people. But if I said do this until your form starts to turn to shit, you would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
do your deadlifts, and then when it starts to feel sketchy, discontinue. You did 3 reps and they were cool, and you're not sure about the 4th one, or you did the 4th one and you're scheduled to do 5 reps, but you know that 5th one's going to be really sketchy, don't fucking do it. You don't need it.
Yep, that's also something I learned from you and Smokey, and then later on Stan, but it just reassured me more of what you guys told me.
That guy's so fat.
Yeah, he's losing his, he definitely looks like shit right now.
Fat and old.
But yeah, learning where to push, and also we were talking about mechanical failure, and then past that, I think I don't really see too much of a point in doing that.
Maybe just for like a mental.
Yeah, maybe
every
for
once
like,
in a while. Like,
yeah, but I just think how much you need to be on point with your recovery to really, recover from something like that needs to be so high. I know I can't recover from something like that, and that's going to affect the rest of the workout. If I have you push me 10 reps past mechanical failure on the hack squat, I'm basically done. Like, I basically am there's no, in my mind, there's no point, because I can't give the same amount of effort I would if I just cut it at mechanical failure throughout the workout for my accessories.
You don't have as much energy for the rest of the stuff, and then like if you did that on like, say like a seated row or something, you just went nuts on it. Yeah. And did like 25 reps out of nowhere with the stack and extra weight on there and stuff. Yeah. Now your back is all tight for the next day. You suck at work. You're tired for every single thing that you do. You don't have enthusiasm during the day. You're not motivated to work out, and when you do work out, your back is still tight because you went absolutely insane. Yeah, it could affect your sleep. Like, everything gets affected, and that affects the whole rest. Like, that would affect my push day the following day, and that would piss me off because I'm expecting to hit a certain number or just have a good workout.
and I'm going into the next one fatigued, and it's not even a lower body day, it's an upper body day. So, and I've done that before, and I was like, oh, I'm being hardcore, I can handle this. But once you experience different things, try different things, you'll realize there's a time and a place to really go hard. You should be going hard all the time with intensity, but that hard, it could just be affecting your progress that you could have made.
Should be going hard in terms of like your effort, and in terms of like choosing things that are challenging.
Yeah.
Like you don't want things to just be a breeze. Like if you can normally curl 30-pound dumbbells really easily, and all you're doing is mess around with the 10s, it's gonna be hard to squeeze the right results out of those 10-pound dumbbells.
Oh yeah.
It's just not heavy enough. At the same time, just because you have the capacity to do the 30s doesn't mean you always have to just do the 30s. It also doesn't mean that if you don't make it to the 35s that you aren't progressing at all, because there's other ways to make progress in the gym. I think something that's also important in trying to put together your own formula, your own workouts, is something that I've called for a long time. I call it the intent of the day. So this is why it might be an advantage to potentially not have a coach, because I think there's a lot of questions that you want to ask yourself before you engage in a training protocol, which sometimes some of the coaches do ask you some of these questions, but sometimes they don't. But it'd be a good idea to start to ask yourself a bunch of questions. Do you want to get bigger? Do you want to get stronger? You want to get leaner? I know you said yes to all those, but do your best to try to choose one, just even within a given workout. Try to select just one thing to work on within the confines of a workout, or within the confines of a moment of a workout. So if you want to get stronger, you could set the stage for your workout, and your main intent of the day could be a movement that you would love to work on getting stronger with. Bench press, squat, dumbbell bench press, deadlift, any movement you want, power cleans. And then from there, you can kind of switch into like a bodybuilding routine. You can work on hypertrophy. And the reason why that works pretty well is because hypertrophy and strength, they have a crossover. Sometimes when you're working on your strength, it will result in you just getting bigger anyway, because now you're able to handle more weight. But not only are you able to handle more weight, you're able to handle more weight for more reps and more sets, which gives you more volume. So you increased your training capacity by getting yourself stronger. Now that you can bench 275, 225 is sort of chump change in your workouts, and you can do working reps and sets and get hypertrophy from that. And then same thing when you go to do your dumbbell work. Now that you bench 275, the 70-pound dumbbells aren't that hard for you to handle now, and you can get more reps and more sets out of them. But I think a huge thing to think about in your workouts is your intent of the day, and then you build everything around that. What is the intent that you want to have? Do you want to have bigger shoulders? If you want to have bigger shoulders, like even if I was just to say, Kenny, I want to have bigger shoulders, how did we start to slap together a workout? What would be an easy way for someone to put together a workout that wants some bigger shoulders?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah. Throw together a program for us right now, buddy.
Oh, I would put I would hit shoulders twice a week. I would put them in as the secondary, prioritize, have a push day where you prioritize chest still, but also add some shoulders in. Then have a push day where the whole focus is just delts. And I would do it like that, and you can even sneak rear delts in on your leg days. Really, you can sneak them in every time you're in the gym.
And the rear delts will help give the whole shoulder a more 3D look.
Yes.
So it's not just the front of the shoulder that you want to build, and not just the side.
Yeah, everybody has this, and you really don't. I wouldn't even really program
directly work the
front raise, because you're doing so much pressing anyways. Incline, overhead press, whatever. I would just sneak a bunch of rear delts in and have a day that's just focused on some heavy presses controlled, some lateral raises, maybe a machine. The rest of the program,
heavy presses, rep and set protocol for heavy presses.
Heavy presses,
approximately.
I like to do 2 top sets to failure, mechanical failure, at the same weight. and then progress those each week. Or if your recovery is not on point, you'll quickly find out if you can recover from that or not. You can do one top set. So let's say I do 120s for one top set, and then I'll cut in half and do 60s for at least 30 reps. And then you can sneak a lot of volume in there. Just depends on what you like and what you can recover from. But yeah, we made a split the other day in a video we'll post, and it was, I set it up like this. Like we talked about probably like 15 minutes ago, doing things you enjoy. I absolutely love deadlifting. So I'm gonna program deadlifting. It's not the most optimal for bodybuilding, but I don't care, I like it. So I used an example in Graham's office, and I did Monday is push A, chest focused, sneak some shoulders, sneak some triceps. Tuesday is quads and hamstrings, majority of it being quads. Wednesday off. Thursday is my back day. That's no erector loading or lower back loading. So it's all machines, all pull downs. It's really lats. Friday is my second push day, shoulder focus, a little bit of chest, a little bit of triceps. And Saturday is, I would call it my own Kenny's day. I don't know. It's deadlifts, power rows, heavy as shit, maybe 5 plates, and really just upper back. So I'll still do a machine, but it's basically all the stuff that I love to go to the gym and do. Deadlift, power rows, maybe some weighted pull-ups, and that's it. So Saturday is just a designated day for whatever I like. It could be just an arm day, whatever, but you already had 2 push days in there, a back day, and a leg day.
You see how each one of those days now, sometimes there's a little fluff that goes into some of these things. Sometimes Kenny will do neck, sometimes he'll do tib work, sometimes he might do forearms or something. But for the most part, what I heard there was the beginning exercise of each workout had like an intent. It was not always necessarily a compound movement, but it's like a main movement. So a main movement it could be a machine, it could be a cable row, it could be a seated cable row, or it could be a hammer strength piece or something. Hammer strength overhead press, or one of these machines in here, if that's your heavy shoulder thing that you chose. But the intent of that is the thing that's the most important. What are you going to get out of that? You're trying to send a signal. You're just trying to send a message to your body, and to send that message to your body to grow, it's not nearly as hard as you think. There's 2 messages that you can really send. One is, hey, you better respond to this, you better adapt to this, because I'm trying to get stronger. And if you don't, then we're going to get hurt. And if you just take it chill and you're not doing anything crazy, your body will adapt, your body will learn how to do that. If you're lifting with proper technique and form over the weeks and over the months, those shoulder presses are going to get stronger and stronger. The other message that you can send is for hypertrophy. And that signal's not hard to do either. The only difference between those two is that the signal for hypertrophy, you got pain of that set lasting longer. And you do have to grind through some of that. So once it starts to feel sticky and once it starts to like burn, that's when you got to do 3, 4, 5 more reps with still good technique. So the difference between those two, when you're trying to set a signal of strength and power, it's going to take a lot less time, but it's still going to hurt. It's going to kind of like almost, I'm just thinking of that shoulder press that we have over there. That initial press is like, hey, I felt that in my elbows, man. Like, shit, my shoulders. But it didn't kill. It's not a pain that I can't tolerate. It's not something that's going to cause, catastrophic damage by any means. Once you get the reps going, then you're good to go and you can continue. And then you got your other stuff, your other signal for hypertrophy. It just takes longer. You're in set number, or you're in rep number 8, and you're starting to get tired, and you know that you better get to 12 because it's in your best interest, because that signal needs to be sent. And you can feel it. I can sometimes feel it when I do something properly in the gym. I'm like, I got what I needed from the gym today, and that felt awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had that the other day on my push
legs.
day.
Oh.
Well, legs yesterday especially, probably the first time in a long time, where everything was just clicking. I knew I sent the right...
Locked it in.
Yeah, and for me, I was honestly just lying to myself for the last 2 months and telling myself that I was having good workouts, but I was just being lazy, and I wasn't using the intensity I know I need to send the signal. Since I haven't been training as long as you, but I did notice, like, all right, I have to keep progressing my intensity and what I choose to do in the gym if I want to continue to make progress, Because if I just...
These are things that are normal, though. You have to go through these things. Like life, you know, we love the gym, but there's like other shit that happens in your life. There's other things going on. And it can make, sometimes sending these signals, it can make it exhausting. You got work, you got other things going on. Yeah. And you're not always going to be so fired up and so energetic of the gym. And my recommendation on that is just let it go. Just let it happen. Just, you know, whatever way you can get through it. I would say my main advice would be like, don't detach yourself from the gym, or don't, because if you lose momentum that way, then for some of the people listening, they might be toast. Yeah. You and I, we like it too much. We're not going to go anywhere. But
yeah, no, I definitely, yeah, we talked about this probably like 3 episodes ago when we were talking about implementing jiu-jitsu and stuff. It took me till basically yesterday for it to click, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I still enjoy the gym a lot. Maybe I just, you know, with work or whatever I'm doing outside the gym, I think I was doing too much. So I was going into the gym with an expectation that I had to do 5 to 6 things. But when I really cut that back and I realized, oh, I just need to match, you know, what I'm doing outside the gym with the gym. The gym can't be way up here as far as all the stuff I'm doing. And then I was just doing too much, basically. I wasn't able to recover. So I connected really well. I'm doing like 3 to 4 exercises per session, and that felt really good. But like we talked about, figuring out what's going to work for you. I had an amazing chest day. Like Mark said, I did use the machine as my main movement, the plate loaded prime machine. It's amazing. I did 2 sets, super heavy, and I only got 6 reps for both. So that's fine. For me, I like going heavy. I enjoy it, so I liked it. I followed it up with incline press, some flies. So the hypertrophy part was covered even if I only got 6 reps. But what I noticed is my elbows were absolutely killing me. I have another push session on Friday that I need to recover for. So what I got from that was like, all right, let's switch over to just 1 top set on the prime machine, go heavy, and then go a little bit lighter, do a back off set, so my elbows feel fresh going into the shoulder day. But you guys will figure it out. It's not rocket science. It's really just all based off feel.
How many, you know, exercises do you need per body part? And some of the science that's out there, some people say that you need like 12 sets per body part per week. For it to grow, so you might need 6 and 6, you know, if you're gonna put on separate days. But I would say let's hold the phone on that. And what I want to encourage you guys to do, if you're newer to lifting, or just newer to like really pushing and giving it a good hard shot, like just kind of bringing it in the gym. If you're new to it, I want to inform you of something. You might not have known this before. You know what you need? You need nothing. You don't need a certain amount of reps. You don't need a certain amount of sets. The only thing that I think you do need is consistency. So you can just get there each and every day. Don't worry about if the workout is scattered because you don't have a program. Don't worry that you did a heavy 1-arm dumbbell row because you saw some other dude doing it, you thought it was cool, and then you got workout ADHD and you were like, oh, Kenny said do rear delts. And you know, my friend is a huge fan of the fly machine, and you just were scattered all over. It's fine to work out that way, like actually in workout that way. I want to encourage you to step into that. But when you're doing it, when you're in those sets, just bring it a little bit more. Give it a little extra, and make sure that there's an intent twist to it. So no matter what it is that you're doing, whether it's walking lunges, or whether you're doing burpees, or whether you're doing bench press, have an intent to it. Are you trying to get more fit from it? Are you trying to get shape from it? Are you trying to get stronger from it? Are you trying to just get better conditioning from it? What is it that you want to squeeze from it? Think about that before you do the exercise, and you can come in the gym and do just about anything that you want. You should be making progress each and every week. And the way that you're going to track your progress, because it might seem like mayhem because you are all over the place with your lifts, write shit down. Write it down. I would suggest, I remember I used to write down everything. Yeah, I was meticulous with it. I should probably go back to it. It's super
It's fun.
helpful.
It's so fun.
For those
too.
of you that are, you know, you like apps more or something, go ahead and use whatever you can to trap that stuff down and to track it. But when you see that you did 30-pound dumbbells on your seated overhead presses last week, well, you can be encouraged to either increase the reps and now go for 12 reps instead of the 10 you did the week before, or go to the 32.5s or the 35s, whatever your gym has, and see if you can ratchet up the weights over the weeks and months.
Yeah, that's been keeping me motivated and fresh as of lately, because just seeing it, you're like, all right, that'll give you motivation itself to be like, all right, I can't bitch out today. Got 60-pound incline press for 10. I got to at least clean up the form, add a rep, add some weight, and you'll leave the gym feeling accomplished for sure.
Yeah, if you can just do whatever you want, sometimes you won't do much.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I caught myself doing. And it's not okay. Yep. A little bit of triceps.
The other thing is, I think you have some freedom within the exercises. I did mention, you know, having an intent of the day. So if your intent is hypertrophy, or the intent is that you just want the area to look better, let's say it's shoulders, let's say it's triceps, something like that, you can do 3 shoulder movements in a row where you do this like massive drop set, or you do this like cluster set where you do 3 different movements. Maybe you start with an overhead press, then you do a lateral raise, and then you bend down and you do a rear raise. For triceps, maybe you start with a tricep push down. You saw today we were actually doing, in today's workout, we did tricep extensions heavy, and then we supersetted that with some triangle push-ups to help build the triceps up further. So you could pick 2, 3, 4 exercises after whatever movement it is that you start with, and you can get a good burn and a good pump from that. I think one of the intents there is that you're trying to, like, how long does a set last for? You know, I think the research would say like you want to be around a minute, but I've had sets that last, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 minutes before, because I just kind of keep going and it feels good.
Oh yeah.
But judge it for yourself and see what feels right for you, and also be a little cautious. Like, you don't want to make yourself so sore that you end up not coming back to the gym. I'm sure, Kenny, you've done this before, like made myself so sore where I can't like straighten my arms out.
Yeah, that's not good.
Like, I remember going going in high school like this, or like middle school or whatever grade it was, 7th, 8th grade, I was like, couldn't extend my arms. I've had times where I couldn't get up and down the stairs and stuff. And how hard do you want to push that? You hear people kind of glamorizing that kind of stuff. How hard do you want to push that? It's just up to you. I know a lot of guys, I see a lot of guys online that talk really tough about how hard they train and how much weight they use, and they don't really have big legs even. So I'm like, why are they getting so sore, and why are they going so hard when their legs aren't? It doesn't make any sense. So I don't think there's a reason to really like pull a tough guy mentality into this.
Yeah.
Although it is challenging. It is difficult. But again, the most difficult and most challenging thing about this isn't the weight that you're using. It's not the reps. It's not the sets. It's the consistency over a long period of time. So I want you guys to think, if you're doing this 3, 4, 5 years from now, you're going to look way different. Even if you just do it half-assed, even if you do shit at 40%, as long as you stay connected to the gym, and as long as you're at least somewhat diligent, you're going to see massive improvements. Why would somebody want to get a program, or what would the advantage be? We did talk a lot about making your own program, and we want to encourage people to do that, because I think it strikes upon some of the creativity. It could be a lot of fun. But what would be some good reasons for somebody, like they maybe tried it on their own and they're not getting anywhere? To
get a program, you're saying?
Yeah.
The benefits of getting a program would be you can kind of turn it off and just follow something every day, and it gives you a plan that you know is consistent, and you're going to look at it every single week. It's always going to be the same. So that, for people that overthink or get anxiety or, just overdo shit, it could help them. I'm like that.
Yeah, it can help, especially with some of the people that really tend to overdo stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that side.
Yeah, that's how I am, but I also absolutely love training, so I get a huge kick and mental benefit out of structuring my own stuff. But I still get like that where I'm like, okay, I just need a program for the next training block. I'm just gonna follow it. I'm not gonna think, I'm just gonna do, and that can take stress off of your plate at the time.
I think what he was gonna say is strength is never weakness, weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Whoosh.